You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling waxed paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Some last-minute moving and shaking in Major League Baseball as free agents are trying to find landing spots. Ian Kennedy signed a minor league contract with the Texas Rangers. Also in the news, starting pitcher Austin Voth signs a 1-year, $1.85 million contract with Baltimore, avoiding arbitration. Catcher Michael Perez signs a minor league deal with the New York Mets. Cole Irvin traded to Baltimore from Oakland for minor league prospects. Other ones you may have missed over this past week, Juris Familia signs a 1-year deal, $1.5 million with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Second baseman Cesar Hernandez heads to Detroit. Jeffrey Springs signs a 4-year, $31 million deal with the Tampa Bay Rays, including a $15 million option for 2027. Though he's been a trending topic, ex-Yankees pitcher Masahiro Tanaka takes a major pay cut to stay in Japan. The former Yankee starter, Tanaka, re-signed with the Tehuko Golden Eagles. Tanaka will make $3.6 million plus incentives for 2023. The righty reportedly made $6.8 million in each of the last 2 seasons in Japan. 34-year-old Tanaka felt his deal was fair. He recorded just 13 wins over the last 2 seasons, though posting a 3.16 ERA. Right-handed pitcher Zach Greinke, 39 years old, once one of the most dominant pitchers in Major League Baseball, could be headed back to Kansas City. Greinke was quoted as saying recently that he is optimistic about heading back to the Royals, though still a free agent. In your updated NFL lines, Philadelphia, 2.5-point favorite over under 46 versus San Fran. And the Bengals are now a 1-point dog in KC. 47.5 is the over. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Mama Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub cup. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key. And simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. I think the Panthers owe everyone an explanation why Steve Wilkes didn't get the head coaching job.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Got some news coming in from the NFL. Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator who was fired by the Jets, is being hired by the Rams. And that coaching tree, that ancestral coaching tree, continues as they just keep swapping each other back and forth and back until basically the NFL gets tired of these guys not performing, and then they'll eventually look elsewhere. The other thing you have to look at, and it's not that Frank Reich is not a good coach, and I think that he's going to do a good job, but why didn't Steve Wilkes get the opportunity after what he did with Carolina and turn them around after a 1-4 start? He had them, not only did he coach them to a winning record under his tutelage, but he had them in the playoff hunt until the final week of the season. So I really don't get why Wilkes didn't get an opportunity. He said all the right things when asked about this. Basically said that you know it's a learning experience, blah 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 blah. You know what we want to hear? We want to hear someone finally come out and say, "You know what? I got screwed. I went out there and I coached my butt off, and I turned a team around that's, by the way, traded their superstar in Christian McCaffrey to a conference rival in the San Francisco 49ers. You then got rid of the quarterback that you brought in to be the savior in Baker Mayfield. And I was left with Sam Darnold, a wide receiver in DJ Moore, who, had he not taken his helmet off against the Falcons, what was that, week 2, week 3, whatever that was, and got the celebration penalty that cost the Panthers the game. The Panthers probably win the division. And the Panthers not only win the division, it's probably Todd Bowles that gets fired. And Wilkes probably ends up keeping the job had Carolina made it. But I don't think Wilkes got a fair shake in that deal. It's not that this is any kind of damning towards Frank Reich. I thought he got a raw deal in Indianapolis. And I also believe that he'll do a good job in Carolina, that's really going to come down to what quarterback can they get a hold of. Bobby and I are going to bat that around here in a second, but there's a lot of options with the Carolina Panthers and where they can go. Do they stay with Sam Darnold and try to build elsewhere on the team, or do they go after one of the many quarterbacks who are going to be up for grabs here in the offseason? The other thing that you have going on in the world of sports is obviously the NFC and AFC championship game are Sunday, the NFC championship game being 3 p.m. Eastern. That'll put the Eagles hosting the 49ers currently. That line is still -2.5 Philly. I'm getting to the point where I don't think it's going to move. So if you like it, you might as well grab it one way or the other. And then the other line has flip-flopped in the last 24 to 48 hours. It was Cincinnati favored by a point. Now Cincinnati is an underdog. And that really comes because Patrick Mahomes has at least played the part and looked the part in practice. And they say he's been a full participant in practice. Is this gamemanship by Andy Reid? Does he know that he's going to send Mahomes out there and he better have a plan B? And the plan B, I would assume that Chad Henne is getting snaps this week, quite a few snaps this week, to have him ready. And there's got to be an alternate game plan, because with the high ankle sprain, if he looks anything like he did against Jacksonville, there's no way that they can roll him out there unless the defense just comes up with unbelievable turnovers and just does a phenomenal job. And I don't think the Kansas City defense is going to get pushed around, but I also don't think they're going to shut down Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Because that game will be in Arrowhead, 6:30 Eastern, or as a lot of folks are calling it, Burrowhead, because Joe Burrow has gone in and beaten Kansas City. This will be the third time that they will have played in the last 14 months? 13, 14 months? And overall, Pat Mahomes is over against Cincinnati. Obviously, the last two matchups versus Burrow. The one this past season was in Kansas City. Cincinnati, and obviously tomorrow or Sunday will be in Kansas City. And Kansas City fans obviously will be into it, and they'll be raising Cain and they'll be shaking the stadium. But is that going to be enough? And just to get you an update on some of the injuries that are going on as we head into Sunday's Championship Sunday. Elijah Mitchell, he's got a groin injury. He was not seen participating in practice yet again on Friday. So is he going to be available? Andy Reid is claiming that Patrick Mahomes will be a full go. But what does that really mean with a high ankle sprain? Just by kickoff, it will be just 8 days removed, when normally these guys miss every bit of 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Sometimes it's a 6 week, 8 week situation. In fact, one of the things that's becoming more popular with the high ankle sprain is they have laser surgery and puts them out for about 6 weeks, but they come back stronger. Well, obviously that wasn't an option at this point. Bengals right guard Alex Kappa has been ruled out for the conference championship game. And Jonah Williams, the left tackle for Cincinnati, has been ruled out. Now, that is a big deal, but they also did not play last weekend. Tight end Hayden Hurst says he will play in the conference championship game. He has a calf issue. And of course, we just mentioned Mike LaFleur to the Rams as offensive coordinator. And Dan Quinn If you missed this yesterday, defense coordinator for Dallas has taken his name out of any running for head coaching positions and is coming back yet again. But some of the things that we're still keeping an eye on, still waiting for updates for today. Yesterday, McCole Hardman, was limited in practice. He has like a pelvis hip contusion is what they're calling it. Most think that he will play, but he's not getting a lot of practice in. And Christian McCaffrey says he is absolutely going to play. And now with the fact that Elijah Mitchell once again did not practice, one of the things that jumps out at you is maybe it's time to throw some money in on some Christian McCaffrey prop bets. Because if they don't have Elijah Mitchell to spell him, it's going to be the CMC show coming out of that backfield. And if he is healthy, you could do worse, right? So that kind of gets you caught up on what's going on here in the world of sports. And there hasn't been a lot of big moving and shaking in Major League Baseball. But a couple of things that you might have heard during the sports flash. One of the things is I did find it interesting that the Major League Baseball teams did not go back after Tanaka. You know, Masahiro Tanaka signed a 2-year deal to play in Japan, and he has gone over there, pitched pretty well the last couple of years. His ERA is just over 3. A little surprised someone didn't take a swing at Tanaka and see if they could afford to bring him back over at a reasonable rate back here to the States and maybe put him, maybe he's the first team that I think of be a perfect fit would be to throw him into the Tampa Bay Rays, right? And so we have all of that going on. And then, of course, we have still a couple of decent names out there. Now, look, I know they're older, but with Ian Kennedy coming off the board and signing his 1-year deal, Zach Greinke, though 39 years old, he is still available. And he's an interesting one because Zach Greinke is a guy that is not only he's willing to pitch out of your bullpen bulk innings or do spot starts at this age. He was even more valuable in the National League before they put the DH in because he was actually a pretty good hitting pitcher. But that's neither here nor there anymore. But I'll be interested to see. The rumor is he's probably going to head back to Kansas City, where he has spent quite a bit of his career off and on. But you do wonder if a contender, whether they sign him or make a move for him down the stretch. He has shown he can still pitch. I don't know if he's a guy that can go out there and give you 5 or 6 innings on a consistent basis. But he is a guy that can go out there and be an opener. He is a guy that you could put in middle relief. Game gets out of hand one way or the other. You could do a lot worse than bringing Zach Greinke in. And the knowledge that he would have, and from my understanding, has always been a really big clubhouse guy and gets along with the guys. He's kind of a quirky guy, kind of a funny guy. It would probably mesh in a lot of locker rooms. So we'll see what happens there. Ian Kennedy does sign a 1-year deal with the Rangers. It's a minor league contract. You got to figure they're trying to piece together their bullpen. On that note, beginning this Tuesday, Nate Miller of the Texas Rangers will be joining us once a week on Tuesdays in the 3:00 hour. And we'll be talking, obviously, a lot of baseball. We'll be talking a lot of not just the Texas Rangers, but American League and American League West. Want to give folks a little bit of a flavor difference as we get closer to the baseball season. We do talk a lot of Braves, and we do talk a lot of National League because the Braves are in the National League, and this is a Braves-based show. But we do want to try to mix it up a little bit. So Mondays you're going to get the Red Sox, Yankees, AL East with Temus. Nate will bring you the AL West. So we'll get our fill of American League baseball on the 3:00 hours on Monday and Tuesday, and then of course we've got our Cubs guys that come on. We've got obviously Braves guys. I'm here every day, and Justin joins us every Wednesday now. So we will have you covered with baseball as football season's coming to a close. It's hard to believe. It seems like it gets shorter and shorter every year, even though they're adding weeks, much to the chagrin of a lot of football wives. But it's hard to believe that we have 3 games left. We got the championship Saturday, and then, of course, championship Sunday, and then, of course, we have the Super Bowl. And we will be bringing you our kickoff show this Sunday 1 to 3, and we will also bring you the kickoff show 1 to 3 on Super Bowl Sunday. So that rolls you right into your action. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Bobby Schneider joins us, and we're going to talk some NFC. What is Arizona going to do? Frank Reich is gone, which I, by the way, think would have been a great fit in Arizona. What is the direction Arizona is going to go? Now no Kingsbury, and we don't know how long Kyler Murray will be out. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country. Keep it locked in here to 99.1 FM and WQEE. Braves Country HD, wherever you stream.
Work is work. You don't show up late, you don't make excuses, and you don't not work. If it wasn't work, they wouldn't call it work. They'd call it super wonderful, crazy, fun time. Or skippity-doo.
It all starts with just one thing. Get to know your local beekeeper. You can make sure they don't use chemicals in the hive, that they only sell surplus honey, plus locally produced honeys have a smaller carbon footprint. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
The Armchair Quarterbacks are covering America's pastime from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic.
5-2 Dodgers in the 9th. Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets, it's the impossible dream revisited.
And Myers bringing it. And the pitch is hit in the air. Foul off first. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
Bell, left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Armchair.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Or you think you're tough picking on an old man? Maybe you'd like to try taking on somebody your own age.
You got any kids? Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee, the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE. Welcome back here on TGI Friday, baby. Bobby's with us. Bobby, are you ready for a crazy Friday in the borough?
I am. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to be inside all night refreshing the news on Sean Payton, but that'll be exciting enough.
What's the weather like in Middle Tennessee this weekend?
Windy, wet, pretty cold, not enjoyable.
Oh, joy and rapture. I I miss it up there like I do a bad rash. It's getting nipply down here, man. It got all the way down to it's gonna be in the 60s this weekend. So,
Man, if we can get a day in the 60s up here, I'd be happy with it. I'd
we were
be
looking at the Super
very
Bowl.
happy.
So strangely enough, even though it's normally warmer here, we were looking at the Super Bowl Sunday, and man, I'm telling you, every single year we'll have beautiful weather. Super Bowl Sunday hits here, and it's either freezing or raining or a little bit of both. I think we're actually going to get a decent one, but we're still so far out. I'm not 100% sure. My wife's over there reading the tea leaves off some app, and I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, we are. What are we? 16 days away from this? Like, there's no way this thing's accurate." By the way, I have to mention something. So I got a gift from Christmas from my wife that I hadn't put together because it took a while for it to arrive, and then I've probably had it for about a week. And really, what I'm needing it for is when we start doing the baseball broadcast, it's nice to have something that's going to flash the scores, and I don't have to open up other outlets. Have you heard of this thing called a tidbit?
I haven't, no.
So it's pretty cool without giving it in their own infomercial for free. I don't know why, but I started seeing it on Facebook and a couple other places. Long story short, I'm going to have to try to get a video of it and put it up just so people know what I'm talking about, because it's sitting right behind my camera right now. So I can't really pull it because it has to stay plugged in, but it's kind of a retro looking. What it looks like is it's like a wooden box, almost like an old school alarm clock. And then the face of it, do you remember the old light brights?
Light brights.
I think it's a little before your time, but I didn't know if you'd ever seen one.
If I had seen it, I might be able to recognize it, but off the name alone, no.
Basically, like light bulbs lighting board up, and what it does is it connects with applications that you. So there's an app that you download on your phone, and inside the app, you choose what applications you want to run on it. So it's a revolving deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the short of it is, why I got it was for weather and sports scores.
Mm-hmm.
So I can, and it's up to the minute. It's not like, they're giving you scores from, last night or whatever. I was checking it last night when I was connecting it. And as I was watching the Celtics Knicks games, it was updated to the second.
Mm.
So, but anyways, pretty cool.
You might have just got them some new customers.
Well, the main reason why I bring it up is not too long ago, there was a tornado watch. I had no idea it was going on in the Atlanta area. Well, this thing here is going to tell me. It's going to tell me all kinds of weather alerts and all that kind of junk. So, So that's, and that's the end of Old Man Radio today. I was just going to get everyone excited because I could see weather. Well, I don't know about you, but every weather app that I have, when it opens, first of all, it takes too long to open for my liking. And then when you get in there, there's 47 ads where all I'm trying to get is the forecast.
I just use the one on my phone. That one seems to be reliable enough.
I used to use that one, but it kind of bites. I'm assuming that you're talking about the one on iPhone.
Yeah,
the one that comes with it. I don't like it because it's not that reliable compared to like the weather channel and whatnot. And they don't have the radars and all that kind of stuff, which is a little more important to those of us who live on the coast because there's always water coming in on you, right?
Yeah.
But the one that's on the iPhone, I guess it was okay when I lived in Middle Tennessee, but I really like knowing like what's going on. Well, these things have weather alerts that you can put on, and they will only pop up when there's a weather alert in the area that you put it in. So one of the first ones I grabbed was the Atlanta area. So Anyways, hopefully that will keep me a little more in the know what's going on when I'm like, let's talk about what are the Georgia Bulldogs doing this weekend? And it was like, shut up, man. There's tree just came down in my yard. So, all right. Anyways, before we get in the NFC Championship game and the lines and everything, Arizona coaching situation. What are you hearing? What's realistic? Because I'm not buying Sean Payton, although I hope it happens because I know that's what you want.
You've been really not opposed to it happening, but you just don't have any expectation. Look, I get it. It seems like a long shot, but an 8-hour interview yesterday, that's pretty telling that there's at least some interest there on both sides. I think he's a realistic candidate. I think another realistic candidate is Brian Flores. He has connections with our new GM. He's already interviewed once. They don't have him lined up for a second interview yet, but he has one under his belt. I think it's going to come down to Peyton or Flores. I'd obviously much rather have Peyton, but I'm not sure the direction the team's looking at, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to hash out a deal with New Orleans on a trade and all the contractual
You've
stuff.
got a better chance of doing it because you're not in the division. I get that you're in the conference, but I mean, come on. They can't paint themselves into the corner with that.
Well, that and the teams that are, still pursuing Peyton have narrowed down quite a bit. The Broncos, there's reports that him and the ownership group had some disagreements during a meeting. He said that wasn't true. So right now he's still in play for the Denver job.
You know what the disagreement was? The ownership group says Russell Wilson doesn't suck, and he's going, yes, he does.
Yeah, that might have been it. But he said that wasn't true. Who knows? Maybe he's just covering his tracks. It's hard to really tell right now. But I think he's still in play for the Denver job. But if they go for a different direction, then that leaves him pretty much with just Arizona as his only choice if he chooses to come back this year.
Well, I really hope that he does end up in Arizona because I don't want to see him in Indianapolis. And that's where I keep fearing that he's going to end up. Because if he was smart, that's where he would go.
I don't know. I think
they could pull off. They could attract a quarterback there, right?
They could, but Irsay just doesn't seem to have it all going up here. I don't know what his vision is, but he seems to be really fond of Jeff Saturday.
Maybe he's planning on tanking a few more years and just keep.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe he's like,
drafting that quarterback.
Some guy in here like Peyton. He's going to turn it around, and we're going to be, we're going to end up being like 8-9 next year and get a terrible draft pick. What I need to do is lock Jeff Saturday in for a 3-year deal. We can really suck BBs, and we'll get the top draft choices for like half a decade, and then let's go.
That might be what he's thinking. I'm not sure. A lot of the people within the Colts organization have tried to steer him away from that, but he really likes Saturday.
I don't understand that. The only other thing that I could think of with Jeff Saturday, if you bring him back, is because he's a yes man, and Irsay just doesn't want anyone that's gonna. Because let's be honest, Sean Payton's going to do Sean Payton things Sean Payton's way. He's not going to listen to Irsay.
Absolutely.
But Jeff Saturday is just happy to be there.
Mm-hmm. Just happy to get those checks, be a head coach while he can.
You almost wonder if he's taking a page out of the Jacksonville Jaguar playbook and when I couldn't understand why they kept bringing Doug Marrone back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it works out in the end because you had so many high draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you had the Urban Meyer debacle, you have
real high draft pick with him.
Yeah. But you have all these high draft picks and you end up building a pretty good young core that now that's when you go get a Doug Peterson who can turn things around. So obviously they would never tell their fan base that, but you do wonder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's hard to tell what their direction is. I don't think Sean Payton's in play for the Indianapolis job. I don't think he has much interest. I don't think they've even interviewed him yet. So I don't think you'll have to worry about that.
I hope not, because that's my biggest fear is that he ends up in the AFC South. Thankfully, he didn't end up in the NFC South, and the Falcons don't have to deal with them.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they were gonna have. I didn't think that was realistic, but you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank Reich, who, by the way, I think it's a good hire. Don't get me wrong, but I'll say it again. What did Steve Wilkes have to do to keep that job? Because he had that team in the playoff. Like, when he took over the team, they were 1-4,
Mm-hmm.
and they finished what, one game under 500.
Yeah, and just outside of the playoffs too. He had that team in a great direction. I really liked what he did to wrap the year up in Carolina, but I guess they just wanted to go with a veteran coach, someone who, they thought could work more on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not sure what they were thinking. I don't hate the hire. I think Reich's a great hire. I would have liked him in Arizona if the Peyton situation falls through. But
yeah, honestly,
Wilkes
that's
was
where
a
I
good
thought he was
candidate.
going to end up at, because
Mhm.
I thought he would have been a great coach to come in and try to figure out what's wrong with Kyler Murray, right? The Sean Payton thing's interesting to me, because if he does take the Arizona job, then he's going against what I believe, which is Kyler Murray's a disaster, and he's not disciplined, and it's going to be hard to get him turned around. And sometimes these guys like a challenge, but he better be right, because if you go out there and you spit the bit, it's going to be a long time before you can rebuild and go get another quarterback.
Mhm. I don't think of the options for him to coach, I don't think Kyler is the biggest risk at all. We've seen that Kyler, he can be a fantastic quarterback. Through the first 12 weeks of last year, he was the front runner for MVP. He was playing out of his mind. This year it didn't go as well, obviously, but he's established that he can play at a high level. He can be one of the top quarterbacks in the league when he's playing at his best. And I think a coach like Sean Payton can get that out of him.
The other team that no one's talking about, but I'm telling you, he's been really quiet when normally he's not, even after his team has been eliminated. What is going on with Sean Payton and the Dallas Cowboys?
McCarthy's not going anywhere. And even with Dan Quinn coming back, especially him passing up on the potential head coaching jobs to come back and be a defensive coordinator, I don't think anything's going to change in the Dallas staff.
I thought that too one time. And then the Dallas Cowboys dropped an absolute bomb, and it was around this time of year. And that's the only reason why I absolutely believe that it could be a possibility. And there's kind of a schmucky guy coaching the Cowboys, didn't have a lot of faith from the fan base, but he middled around for a few years, by the name of Dave Campo. And all of a sudden, one morning, you woke up and Dallas is having a news conference and Bill Parcells is heading to the Cowboys. And this feels like that same thing, because normally when the Cowboys get eliminated, Jerry Jones has soundbite after soundbite comes out of Dallas. He has been quiet as a church mouse.
Well, I tell you what's been pretty loud within the Cowboys is some talk against Dak Prescott. Their social media page and their website as well had something up about how he had a terrible game. They tweeted it out too. I saw someone send it to me. It was something about how he had a horrible game or whatever, and it was costly. Look, I know it's social media, but that was big. That doesn't just get approved for no reason.
What made it big, and I don't mean to cut you off, but what made it big is it was the Dallas Cowboys verified account that did it.
Yeah, it was very odd. You never seen
a couple days later, they'd taken it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't think that was Jerry Jones, unless he, in a drunken stupor, he sent a text to someone and says, put that on there, right?
Put a hit piece out on my quarterback. Yeah,
that is one of the strangest things. You don't see social media pages trash their own guys ever. I don't care how bad they played.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just take, for example, I follow all the Atlanta Braves media pages. And when they lost, and I mean, it was a bad loss. It was a bad look last year in the playoffs to the Phillies. They looked like they didn't have a pulse. Now, maybe they were tired, whatever. We've beaten that horse. But the point is, everything was upbeat from the social media pages. Kind of that old, that's okay, buddy. We'll get him next year.
Thank you, fans. Oh, they'll never. Yeah, I've never seen a team's social media account trash a player.
There wasn't
that's
one
the first
single thing, and they could have been written. There wasn't one single social media post said, well, Ronald Acuna Jr. had his head up his rear and wasn't backing up Harris when the ball went off the wall. And next thing you know, they got an inside the park home run in a playoff game. Nothing like that. Maybe I said it, but
it sounds like it.
Right. But when you're actually working for the actual team, you can't sound off like that. And it's just I'm with you. It is so strange that can't. When I first saw it, I thought it was a Cowboy fan page, right? And I almost went back to react to it. Basically said, would y'all grow up? And then I realized, whoa, this is the Cowboys page.
Yeah, I don't know how that got approved, how someone checked that off to be posted, but I would be interested to see if they still have a job within the organization.
They deleted it. They deleted it because I did respond eventually to it, and I couldn't find my response either, because all I did was put in lowercase with a question mark as opposed to uppercase with an explanation. I just put, "How about those Cowboys?"
How about them? All's well in Dallas.
At me. Yeah, you should get Braves fan. Get out of here. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hit the AFC and we will get these championship lines in. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD, wherever you stream, at 99.1 FM, The Key.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I apologize for the distractions.
The Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family, have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins...
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, or all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
They've given me less than 1 year to turn this place around. Forget about the way it used to be. This is not a damn democracy. We are in a state of emergency, and my word is law.
Welcome back.
He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American
I feel like that's going to be the speech that Sean Payton is going to give to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys next fall. We are in a state of emergency, and my word is law. got 1 year to turn this around, Dak, or you're going to be in the XFL. They did trash him, though. Bobby, I mean, just to get back to that real quick, I cannot believe that the social media page of a National Football League team would be that irresponsible.
I had to do a double take. I could not believe that was the Cowboys' actual account.
I wouldn't even expect that from like a USFL page that probably has 13 followers.
I'm not even sure an XFL team would do it.
No.
That was pretty low.
If XFL did it, they would do it in true wrestling style, and they would do it like during the broadcast on the sidelines. With one of those fat, hairy guys that always seem to be broadcasting wrestling will go, "You can't handle the tooth." I just, anyways, moving on from that, I would love to see what the over-under line on Dak Prescott being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys past 2023. Because we did talk about this a little bit earlier in the week. Come to find out, the dead cap for him this year is $89 million. So you're stuck. There's nothing you can do about it, right? You can't cut him. It would be insane. I forget what his actual hard cap number is. It's around 40, but 89 if you just released him.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So yeah. And so my thought process would be, if I'm Jerry Jones and I've seen this movie play out every single time the same way, we get to the playoffs, we stink in the playoffs, we can't get any further. Is it McCarthy? Is it Dak Prescott? Is it the combination of the two? Well, the only way that you can perform a good science experiment is to change the beta, and you take McCarthy out, you put Sean Payton in, and you see, we know Sean Payton's a heck of a coach, especially with the quarterback whisperer. And if he can't turn Dak Prescott around, then next year the cap hit is much, much more manageable, and you got to either A, trade him or B, release him.
Yeah.
They have an out in the contract, and I think it's something to the point of where I think it's as low as what the dead cap hit is on Tannehill this year, like around 12 to 14, somewhere in that area. That's doable.
Yeah, they can eat that.
We kind of already went over the Colts situation. Who do you think the Colts are going to end up with?
I can't get a good read on. I think they're bringing in Wink Martindale for a second interview. In fact, they've interviewed Bieniemy once. I know they've interviewed the Broncos defensive coordinator. Can't quite remember how to pronounce his name. Raheem Morris is in play. Apparently, I think he's gotten an interview, and then obviously Jets.
Why is he doing all these defensive guys?
Yeah, it's a lot of defensive coordinators. The only offensive one, I guess, is Bieniemy.
Because honestly, in today's NFL, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's normally the offensive guy that gets the head coaching position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And whether he's an offensive guy or not, he's going to be ridiculed if his offense doesn't go, so he better have a good coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Hackett goes to the Jets. Hackett, Mr. Green Bay. Rodgers, talking about getting traded. And according to Adam Schefter, they could only be traded to an AFC team. I mean, if this doesn't line up perfectly, I don't know what does. What say you?
It makes perfect sense. Another team in the AFC that I could see swooping in and making a deal is the Titans. The Raiders maybe have a chance at him too. Have a reunite him with Devontae Adams. That's possible. But right now, it looks like New York's the prime destination. They got his old offensive coordinator. They have a solid team built around them. They have a good head coach in Saleh. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Did you see all the demands that evidently Rodgers is saying that if he does make this move, that he wants he started naming off every one of his teammates wants to come with him?
Let me guess, Randall Cobb's one of them?
Oh, yeah, Randall Cobb, for whatever reason, 48-year-old Randall Cobb, yeah, he's going to be out there running the 2-yard button hook. It was Cobb, it was Tunyon, it was Lazard, who is a free agent, and I'm forgetting someone.
Well, I know Lazard's on the way out because he was saying to Packers reporters that he was like, he said something along the lines of not wanting to be back. So that seems to be coming to an end in Green Bay.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the conference championships. And by the way, for the record, I do think he's going to end up a Jet. It would
That
be
makes a lot of
interesting to
sense.
see him in Nashville. And I think he would love Nashville, Aaron Rodgers. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers, do I want to go to Nashville where my best receiver is, I guess, Treylon Burks? Or do I want to go play with Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, hopefully a healthy Brees Hall? I mean, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have anything to do with being the center of attention, though he is. It's not like you're going to be some kind of some wilting flower if you go to Nashville, Tennessee. There's plenty of media there.
Yeah. But New
I
York's
also
different.
think it's more his style, but if you look at the talent, I mean, honestly, go ahead.
Okay. The only thing I'd say about the Jet situation with the receiving core is I wouldn't be shocked if Elijah Moore gets moved to Green Bay in a trade because he's already requested out of New York. Granted, he might have had a change of heart, but if he still has that same sentiment, he might be shipped off to Green Bay in that package.
Well, I think he would want to stay in New York if he knew he didn't have to play with Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah. If they told him Rodgers isn't on the way, then they'd probably convince him.
I mean, if I'm the Jets, I called Rodgers to go, look, we'll sign your idiot friend Randall Cobb, who's at the end of his career. Okay, we'll make you happy. But I'm not bringing all these other guys in because look at the receiving core we have.
Yeah, and they already gave CJ Uzama a bunch of money last offseason for tight end. I don't think they would trade for Tanya, and that wouldn't make any sense. He might just have to deal with just Randall Cobb. I'm sure he'll be fine.
I mean, I would say they could make him happy bringing Lazard, but do you need him? And what's Lazard's going to ask money-wise? So, by the way, their quarterback's going to go from making minimal to, I think he's $51 million next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a factor, Mr. Rodgers. You can't have everyone you want to play for because you're hogging all the salary. See, Tom Brady always had a good team around him because he was making very minimal, and they could put that money on defense and everything else, offensive line, and it kept him upright.
Yep. Well, maybe if Aaron Rodgers marries the biggest supermodel in the world, then he won't have to worry about the contract.
Well, he's dating some.
That is true. I think it's the daughter, the daughter of the Bucks owner. I think that's what it is.
Is that who he's dating now?
I believe so. I might be mistaken, but I think that's the case.
Sometimes I think he's dating Pat McCaffrey because, I mean, those two are inseparable.
He's on there like every week.
He was dating the one gal that was on the I don't know her name, but she was a pretty well-known actress that was on the there was a Showtime show that was pretty good before COVID came out and canceled a bunch of shows. Well, her show was one of them. And it was a star-studded cast. She wasn't a star, but she's a pretty well-known actress. But they broke up. And yeah, it looks like you're right. Aaron Rodgers' rumored girlfriend shares racy photo. I don't know if I should open that. I think I'll leave that one alone. That could be a dark tunnel I shouldn't be going down. All right, AFC Championship game. We'll get more into this on Sunday, but where are you leaning right now?
I'm leaning the Bengals. Burrow's 3-0 against Mahomes. They're coming off a big win against the Bills. I think this game could go either way. I'm more up in the air on this one than I am the NFC Championship game. But if I had to make a choice with the line being a pick'em right now, I'd go with the Bengals. They're my choice.
Has it moved back to pick'em now?
That's what I last saw. It may have moved since then, but it's done a lot of moving. It's gone back and forth between who's the favorite.
What I saw just before we jumped on the show was it still is. Actually, Kansas City's -1.5 now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it moved to 1 yesterday, and just from, I don't know, the last 45 minutes, it's moved another half point.
Mm-hmm. Well, if
Which
you're
is,
betting on the Bengals, you might as well take money line because +1 isn't going to do much for you.
here's the thing, that money line sucks on the site that I'm at. The money line's even.
Oh, okay.
+1.5 gets you -110. I would take the 1.5.
Yeah.
If I can have that in my pocket, I could totally see this game coming down to a 2-point conversion, right?
Could be, yeah.
I still think the Bengals are going to roll them. I think they're going to roll them. I really do.
Really?
And I've been in the minority on this week. Most of the guys that have jumped on here are still believing in Burrow. Mahomes. And I think he's hobbled, and I think he's more hobbled than what he's letting on.
Mm-hmm. Well, a high ankle sprain is no joke. That's an injury that normally, if it's a regular season injury, he's probably out 2, maybe 3 weeks. But it's a playoff, so he's gonna tighten that ankle up. He's gonna tape it up and hope it stays together. So
Yeah, okay. It's one thing to go out there and practice. It's another thing to go to the press conference. It is a totally different ball game. He hasn't been hit yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you re-injure it, whatever. And you better know that when they get him down there in that scrum, there's going to be some twisted and turning.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's going to probably be some pushing and shoving matches beginning of the game, because the first time someone does that and a Chiefs lineman sees it, it's going to be chaos.
Yep.
But the other thing is that I saw watching the Jacksonville game, he was slow to the point of release for a handoff, and that is a problem, and it's not enough time. And that's why I say I think Vegas is tricking y'all. I really do. I think they think that you think that everybody thinks that Mahomes is going to be okay. And Burrow has beaten them the last 3 times. Now, they haven't been blowouts, so I get that. And they do have something to prove. It is hard to continue to beat a team over and over again, especially one as good as. And if the Chiefs were healthy, if Mahomes was healthy, I'd probably be leaning Kansas City. I just don't think they are.
Yeah, you said it yourself. I mean, he was limping back there trying to hand the ball off to Jerick McKinnon.
He was hopping.
Yeah, it is. That's definitely a cause for concern. And, with the Chiefs still being a favorite because of that's pretty surprising to me. I guess if I were an odds maker, I'd probably have the Bengals at -2 or so. I certainly wouldn't have them as an underdog. But yeah, it's going to hurt the Chiefs, him not being able to get outside the pocket and improvise like he does so well.
I feel like this game, because Arrowhead is such a big difference, if everybody was healthy, it's almost a pick 'em, but you got to give them the nod because they're at home, and the line would be about 4.5.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, 4, 4.5, whatever, 3.5, whatever. When you take out Mahomes, I think that's at least worth a field goal plus.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mahomes, because when the news first came out, it immediately dropped about 4 points.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're getting this 1.5 at. So what you're telling me is that if Mahomes was all healthy and ready to roll, what the Bengals would be a 5.5 point favorite underdog? Well, isn't that what they were last week? And they go into Buffalo, and the game to me, the game was never in doubt.
Look, I know people don't, I guess, give Burrow a ton of credit on the fact that he's not as, flashy. Doesn't have as big of an arm as a guy like Allen or Mahomes. But I think he's better than Allen. I think he's solidified that. And I already thought that before last week's game. But he's certainly on that top level of quarterbacks. I wouldn't put him on a healthy Mahomes level. But since Mahomes is hobbled, it's a pretty even matchup there. And I think the Bengals might have an edge.
All right, NFC Championship game. You said you feel much stronger about this one. I'm assuming that you're going on the recency of the Eagles pounding the lowly Giants.
That is correct. And I'm not doing it just because they beat the Giants. I'm doing it because on paper, the Eagles have one of the best rosters in football. I mean, there's not a weakness on that team right now. They're loaded from top to bottom. They have Pro Bowlers all across the board, and I think they're going to roll. Purdy didn't look fantastic last week. Granted, it was a pretty low-scoring game, but the 49ers looked very beatable last week. They didn't look like a world beater, and I think the Eagles, they're not showing any signs of slowing down.
Well, what I believe is when you look at the Eagles, the one way you can get to them is on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They have been gashed on the ground over and over again this year, especially when they're facing a formidable offense. And that's going to be the difference in the game to me is that San Francisco. Now, look, it's not going to be easy, and they're going to have to play mistake-free football. And I am a little concerned about Brock Purdy.
Well, here's the thing I'm concerned about with the 49ers is while their run game is so strong, both McCaffrey and Mitchell are banged up. They'll both play. There's no question about it. But they're both dealing with some injuries right now. They've been limited throughout practice this week. They'll play and they'll probably get a lot of snaps. But how much will that limit them and their, effectiveness on the field? That's a big question to me. And I think, if the Eagles can slow down the run game, I don't see the 49ers winning.
Well, the team that is the second best on the ground is San Francisco defensively. If you go by the rankings. Philadelphia is middle of the pack. They're and one of the reasons why Philadelphia sometimes can hide their run defense is because if their offense gets out to a big lead, then teams just abandon the run, right?
Yeah.
But San Francisco was only behind Tennessee this year on yards per game given up. And if Philly can't run the ball, that's going to be a problem. I get that their secondary is the one place that you can hit San Francisco. I just believe San Francisco's going to be able to get after the quarterback. And if they can get after the quarterback, it's going to be a sloppy day. And the biggest thing that I see out of this is I want the points because I think it's going to be a sloppy, close game, and give me 2.5. I really hope it gets up to 3. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Tones Ariel is going to join us, and we are going to jump into some cool games. We're also going to talk the lines and much more. Keep it locked in here on Braves Country, here on 99.1 FM and Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Some last-minute moving and shaking in Major League Baseball as free agents are trying to find landing spots. Ian Kennedy signed a minor league contract with the Texas Rangers. Also in the news, starting pitcher Austin Voth signs a 1-year, $1.85 million contract with Baltimore, avoiding arbitration. Catcher Michael Perez signs a minor league deal with the New York Mets. Cole Irvin traded to Baltimore from Oakland for minor league prospects. Other ones you may have missed over this past week, Juris Familia signs a 1-year deal, $1.5 million with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Second baseman Cesar Hernandez heads to Detroit. Jeffrey Springs signs a 4-year, $31 million deal with the Tampa Bay Rays, including a $15 million option for 2027. And though he's been a trending topic, ex-Yankees pitcher Masahiro Tanaka takes a major pay cut to stay in Japan. The former Yankees starter Tanaka re-signed with the Tehuko Golden Eagles. Tanaka will make $3.6 million plus incentives for 2023. The righty reportedly made $6.8 million in each of the last 2 seasons in Japan. 34-year-old Tanaka felt his deal was fair. He recorded just 13 wins over the last 2 seasons, though posting a 3.16 ERA. Right-handed pitcher Zach Greinke, 39 years old, once one of the most dominant pitchers in Major League Baseball, could be headed back to Kansas City. Greinke was quoted as saying recently that he is optimistic about heading back to the Royals, though still a free agent. In your updated NFL lines, Philadelphia, 2.5-point favorite over under 46 versus San Fran. And the Bengals are now a 1-point dog in KC. 47.5 is the over. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country. Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training in 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
You mean to tell me we're going to drive from here to Texarkana, Texas, and back to here in 28 hours?
It's only 900 miles there, 900 miles back.
Well, for your information, that ain't never been done, not no rig.
That's because you and I ain't never done it in no rig. You got to stop thinking so negative, son.
Welcome back. Braves Country taking you all the way to the top of the hour. We're Sports Map Radio. We'll jump on here with First Name Sports. And remember tonight, little River Dragon hockey action here for you here on 99.1 FM The Key. 7 o'clock tonight, Air Force Heating and Air pregame show with Tom Callahan, and the puck drops at 7:30 as the River Dragons will play host to Port Huron tonight and tomorrow. So you got back-to-back games tonight and tomorrow, both game times 7:30 Eastern. We bring in Tampa Tones onto the show. Tampa, how are you, sir?
A lot of snow on the ground and, cold weather over here. But other than that, hanging in there. Got playoff football this weekend, so very excited about that.
See, if you're actually from Tampa, you wouldn't have that problem.
This is what it sucks being a transplant, brother. I need to go there. I need to live there, and I need to keep my behind over there. Let's put it like that.
I'm just putting out the obvious out there. Chicago, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I've never understood why anyone lives up there. But
hey, I got a cool story, though. So today at work, I got a call, and I seen it was from Noonan, Georgia, and she was a telemarketer trying to sell us some trucking business and whatnot. And I said, wait a minute. You're from Noonan, Georgia? She's like, yep. I'm like, do you know the station WQEE? She's like, of course. I'm like, you ever hear of the show Braves Country? She's like, yes, I have. I'm like, all right, that's all I needed to know. Sorry, I don't want to do business with you. Have a good one.
Yeah, I've heard that jerk go on and on and on about his diatribes about how the Cowboys need to get rid of Mike McCarthy.
Oh, man.
All right, well, let's get into it. We're doing the cool games to get us started off. And there's been a caveat thrown into this once again. So not every single American is going to sit on their couch for 7 or 8 hours and watch 2 football games this weekend. They might be choosing. We only get to see one game. Which game do I... Sometimes you have to fight your battles, especially if you're married. You say, hey, I can only watch one game. Which one am I going to watch? And so I'll throw it to y'all, and then I'll give my answer at the end. Bobby, swing away. What's your one cool game of the weekend?
My one cool game, despite the fact that I'll be watching both of them, is that the AFC Championship game. That's my one cool game. Look, I don't think the NFC Championship game is going to be bad, but I don't think it's going to be too close. It'll stay within a possession, but it's the Eagles' game to win in my mind. On the other hand, this AFC Championship game I think is going to be very close. I know Mahomes is a little bit hobbled, and that makes it a disadvantage for the Chiefs, but they're still a great team. Mahomes is still a great passer. I think this will be a fun game. It'll be a rematch from last year's AFC Championship, so it's a nice storyline. But yeah, that's my cool game.
Tones, what say you?
I'm going with the AFC Championship, Bengals, Chiefs as well. I mean, when you have Burrow, when you have Mahomes, the other game's great too, don't get me wrong, but just such elite two quarterbacks, two good head coaches over there. You have the new up-and-comer in Zach Taylor. You got the bona fide veteran in Andy Reid. You have so many storylines, and these teams have represented the AFC in the Super Bowl the past 3 seasons as well. So they're really carrying the torch and dominance right now. And heck, I think the whole world wants to know who's the next up-and-coming thing. Is it Mahomes? Is it Burrow? We'll find out a lot on Sunday.
If you had your pick of all of the quarterbacks out there to build your roster, who are you going with? Is it Mahomes?
Yeah.
I'd still go with Mahomes. I mean, he's done it for 5-6 years in the league now at an MVP level. He makes throws that look like it's Michael Vick combined with Brett Favre out there in terms of his awareness, underhanded ability. He's crazy out there. Burrow's great too, don't get me wrong, but Mahomes makes at least one play a game where it's like, have I ever seen that in this league before?
So I guess this is where I just differ from everybody. I would take Joe Burrow.
Wow.
I think he's the best quarterback in football right now.
Mm.
And
I still think Mahomes has the title. I think he's still number one, despite how this week goes.
I really don't think he does, because I can't give it to him when he can't beat Burrow. Just like I can't give it to Josh Allen because he can't beat Burrow or Mahomes. For him to take that title back, he's going to have to beat Burrow this weekend, and I don't think he's going to do it. At that point, it'll be 4 in a row. And there's no way you can sit there and say that Mahomes – I think Mahomes is the most gifted as far as being able to do the goofy things that he can do. But, man, there's something about Joe Cool. Or what was the nickname I saw of him today?
Joe Hio?
No. Jackpot Joey.
I don't like that one as much. That one's –
He was asked what his favorite nickname was, and he said it was Jackpot Joey.
Wow.
And there's a guy out there who sells his hats and whatnot, but I don't really get it where it comes from, but it is kind of catchy. I mean, I've always called him Joe Cool, and I don't think that changes in my book, but because he is, man, he's cool as ice. I mean, if I'm building a team, I'm building it around Joe Burrow. But I'll tell you what, Jalen Hurts is a close second with me. I would take Hurts over Mahomes.
That's crazy.
I know.
I can't get behind that. I can't get behind that at all. You can make a case for Burrow.
MVP.
You can make a case for Burrow. Well, I think that has to do with Hurts' injury. But Mahomes is on a different level, man. Just look, if he was healthy this week, you would see it. He would roll through. I'm not going to say, I won't say he'd roll through the Bengals. They'd beat the Bengals if Mahomes was fully healthy. It wouldn't be too much of a trouble, and he'd be on his way to maybe winning a second Super Bowl.
If that was true, then why hasn't he beaten them before?
Look,
because you can't say it's because it hasn't been because it wasn't in a big moment. It was the AFC Championship last year, and he blew a 21-3 lead at home.
Well, the defense blew that.
Defense blew, and it's a team game. We got to acknowledge that part of it at least. It's only fair to say there's 22 guys starting on the field. It's a team game for one. But look, if Burrow wins
team games, unless we're going to get here and argue about tennis, they're all team games.
Well, to be fair, it's a lot different with football. You can't compare like the team game aspect of basketball versus football. You know, there's 11 guys on the field on either side of the ball for football at one time. So, look, if Burrow were to go out there and win an MVP, if he wins a Super Bowl this year, then yes, you could make a case that he's number one. Burrow hasn't won the Super Bowl. He had a shot to do it last year, and he didn't get it done. Mahomes has gotten the Super Bowl. He's got that ring on his finger. Look, man, we can't ignore what Mahomes has done prior to the last couple of years. That's what I'm trying to say.
And he's doing it now with, no-name wide receivers. I know he has Travis Kelce, but it's like, who else? TikTok King?
Yeah, and I don't want to discredit someone because they have a good receiver core, But we do have to acknowledge that Burrow has the best receivers in football. That's only fair to say. If Mahomes had that level of talent,
okay, but prior to that, last year AFC Championship game, Tyreek Hill was on the Kansas City Chiefs.
He was, and I know that, but I'm just
Mahomes
saying.
has the best tight end in football, and he has arguably the best coach in football.
And Burrow's running back is a lot more superior as well than the Chiefs.
as well. Now, I got to ask you, if Mahomes and the Chiefs goes out there and wins on Sunday, does that put Mahomes back up to number one for you? It's got to be, right?
If he goes on and wins the Super Bowl, yeah.
I think he's won regardless.
Because if it ends up being Hurts versus Mahomes and Hurts beats him in the Super Bowl, how can I put him there?
Because it's more than just quarterback versus quarterback. Hurts has the best team in football around him.
But you just said, so you're arguing in circles. You just said, if Mahomes beats Burrow on Sunday, does that put him ahead of him?
No, not quite. What I'm saying.
What if I said no? Because it's
your
a team game and it doesn't matter.
From your perspective, it's quarterback versus quarterback. For me, it's team versus team. Look, if Burrow beats, or if the Bengals beat the Chiefs, that doesn't change where Mahomes is in my rankings right now. Obviously, if the Chiefs beat the Bengals, it still doesn't change. Mahomes is number one regardless for me.
For you, I'm saying if I'm building a team, give me Joe Burrow. Give me Joe Cool.
I'd say give me Mahomes and then give me Josh Allen and then give me Joe Burrow.
I'm Mahomes, Burrow, I guess Allen. Allen's a pretty distant third though.
I'm Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes Hurts. Any way you say it, it's very accurate because Mahomes is going to be wobbling around the field. I'll tell you who hurts Mahomes, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm just putting that out there, man. I'm not saying to be top 3 is nothing to sneeze at.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes mistakes a lot in big time crunch plays where he's trying to do too much, get too cute. The athletic ability is real with Hurts.
I think
Joe Burrow, to me, just always seems to make the right read.
Well, we haven't seen enough from Hurts yet, though. I mean, granted, I think the Eagles are going to win, but this is a big test for him. If he goes out there and lays an egg on Sunday, that's a lot more telling because Mahomes was doing this in his second year too. Mahomes was lighting it up.
Well, this is Burrow's second year.
For me, it's hard.
The year where he broke his leg,
and it's hard to discredit. It's hard to discredit Josh Allen. He's never had a run game. He's had Devin Singletary his whole career. When a defense could just prepare for the quarterback.
I do think the Bills need to get a running game established to take some pressure off of Allen. However, the only problem I have with Allen is that we haven't seen him, get far. He had his chance to go to the Super Bowl last year.
But it's a team game, so.
Oh,
fair. I know. I get it.
It's a team game. That's what I'm gonna tell you every time we go to argue. It's a team game.
Yes. Okay, you're right, and I don't think Allen has had the best help. I mean, he has Diggs, he has Dawson Knox, but the running game is a concern, and I think there's a chance.
It's a team game.
I think he can get over the hump if he has a team around him, but we just haven't seen it yet. Mahomes has that Super Bowl under his belt. He has an MVP. Allen has none of those things.
He
so
does,
I can't
but he's
really
also
put
been
them
in the league
same
just
conversation.
longer. And let's be honest. If Shanahan hadn't have choked it away, he wouldn't have a Super Bowl because they were dominating that game, and he got too conservative in the fourth quarter and blew a 10-point lead with 9 minutes left in the game. San Fran
first time
choked it away.
I ain't the first time Shanahan's blown a big game. He did it in Atlanta as the offensive coordinator. That's just something you have to expect.
It's the last time because this weekend my cool game is San Fran Philly because I don't think that if I can only watch one, I think that's going to be the closer game. I think Cincinnati's going to go in and win by double digits. Not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I think they'll just eventually And I believe that San Francisco-Philly game is going to come down to the wire. And whoever you're pulling for, you're not going to feel real comfortable with 30 seconds left. I think it's going to be one of those types of games. I really do.
I think both are going to be great. I'm just happy I got the Chiefs at +2 earlier this week.
Well, I don't know. Mag, you think the Chiefs stay within 2? I'm guessing you're going to say no because you seem to have the Bengals winning by a lot.
I said double digits. I think 10 points.
That's.
If I'd have told you that last week, which I said it last week, that the Bengals are going to win by double digits, everyone rolled their eyes. What was the score? 27-10, and it wasn't that close. Let's be honest.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a hobbled Mahomes. If Mahomes looks anything like he did last Saturday, he's not going to be able to keep up, and they're eventually going to go to Chad Henne. One of my favorite props that they keep taking it off the board before I can grab it is Mahomes' over-under passing yards. Because I want to grab the under because I don't think he's going to play very well, and I'm not 100% sure he's going to play to the end.
Well, if it is, and if it becomes the blowout like you expect it to be, it wouldn't make sense for them to keep him in too long because in that case, they're just risking injury for a game that's
this is what I'm saying
down the drain. Yeah, and that's a good reason to take the under.
Now, here's the thing: he's got to play for it to matter. But once you get him in the game, the problem is with a lot of these folks. So right now, I see it's back up again. Patrick Mahomes, total passing yards, 282 yards. That's a lot.
That is. I wouldn't mind the under.
And the under in that game, I really like. I'm hoping he has one more good day tomorrow, and they're all singing roses. They jack that up about 5 more yards, and I'm swooping in there.
I think everyone's so hot on the Bengals right now. I love it. I think Vegas is licking their chops right now, seeing all this money coming in on Cincinnati.
Oh, it's not. It's coming in on Kansas City.
No, I read this morning it's actually heavy in favor of Cincinnati, according to this morning.
The Sharps are banging Kansas City.
Cincinnati was at a 60.
That is the reason why the line has moved into Kansas City's direction.
But that was because of Mahomes. It moved that much because of Mahomes.
Right.
It wasn't not because of the money though. If it were money, it would have jumped a lot more slowly. This one was a swift turn as soon as Mahomes got healthy.
But you got to understand that more bets are coming in on Cincinnati, more money has come in on Kansas City.
That could very well be.
It is. I look at this every morning, and right now, more money, which means the Sharps, is on the Kansas City line. Okay, more bets, which means like the Joe Blows like us throwing $5 on it. You know what I mean?
I got a little more than that.
Between you and I bets and come up with any nickname, Joe Slick out in Vegas, and this is his livelihood, right? So that's why sometimes it's skewed. You'll say, "Oh man, more bets are coming in on Cincinnati, but more money has came in on Kansas City." Because what they're looking at 100% is they believe he's going to play and they're at home, and why wouldn't I take the home team? But I'm just telling you, that's the same thing that the line moved towards Buffalo last week. They ended up being 6.5, depending on the book at kickoff.
Speaking of that, my stupid underdog, Cincinnati, I'm looking good.
Yep. What's your lock for the
my lock? I'm going with the game tonight. I'll leave the football talk for later on. I'm going with the Cavs plus 1.5 against the Thunder. Mitchell's banged up right now. He's day-to-day, so I'm not sure if he'll play or not. But still, the Cavs are a really solid team, and they're on the road, but I think they can hang within 1.5 or even win.
So what's the line again?
1.5 Cavs.
1.5 Cavs. All right. Minus 1.5?
Plus
1.5.
1.5.
All right. What is your lock today, Tones?
I got Draymond Green over 8.5 rebounds on the hoops floor, and he's averaged 12.3 rebounds a game since Kevon Looney's been out. They're home against Toronto, and he's put up at least 9 rebounds in 10 of his last 12 as well. So I got Draymond Green over 8.5 rebounds.
All right, what is your walk-off today, Bobby?
My walk-off is enjoy the weekend of football we have ahead of us. For now, though, I'm going to be going back to the news page and refreshing until I see some Sean Payton updates. Enjoy the rest of the show, you
guys. Bobby, I'm pulling for you, brother.
Thank you, man. We need it.
It very much reminds me of the entire time that Dansby Swanson was a free agent. It's constantly refreshing. John Heyman said anything about anything.
I feel you. I'll see you guys later.
All right, brother. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into who is Tampa Bay going to hire to take care of that offense? And who's going to play back next year? We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD, wherever you stream, 99.1 FM. Braves Country on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk, Braves Country on WQEE and YouTube.com/@Braves Country.
I hear these fools on TV talking about defund the police and things like that. We need police reform and prison reform and things like that. Because you know who ain't going to defund the cops? Rich neighborhoods. So that notion they keep saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, we just going to leave, who are people supposed to call? Ghostbusters when we have crime in our neighborhoods?
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterback.
Reggie Gillespie dives into the end zone. The winning points for North Carolina State. And the teams come together in the end zone, pushing, shoving between the pack and the heels as Gillespie has scored the winning points, his 5th rushing TD. But these teams need to be separated. The emotion boils over on the last play of the game as Gillespie goes to the end zone. And it's a sea of Carolina blue and State red.
And Carruthers gets into it, and they've doused him, and now we've got a big brawl out on the field. Marring would have been the 200th victories for Bobby Bodman. Look at this. That's an ugly mess down there. This is ugly. Starting to get it cleared up down there, although there's still some bodies flying around.
ACC football, backyard brawls all year long.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE. Welcome back. $4.25. We missed it, but you know, smoke them if you got them. Woo! Friday, TGI Friday. And thank God it's finally here. The conference championship games. But before we get back into that, Tones, who Witches City was in Tampa.
I wish.
He lives vicariously through fictitious lives. I do like the fact that you got the sun beating on you through the window in Chicago, but I'm sure it's glistening off a bank of snow. I saw Keenan McCardell, wide receivers coach for the Vikings, went in for an interview for the Buccaneers. What are you hearing about Bucks?
It seems like we have 4 offensive coordinator candidates at this point in time, potentially a 5th. The 3 that we have brought in for interviews to this point have been Keenan McCardell, former Buccaneers Super Bowl champion, hometown guy, and now Vikings wide receivers coach. He's done a phenomenal job with Justin Jefferson over the year. Then you got Jim Bob Cooter. He's been all around town, most formally quarterbacks coach or passing game coordinator, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he has done great work with Trevor Lawrence over there. Then we got Clint Kubiak, passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos, formerly offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. And today they announced that they're interviewing Giants quarterbacks coach Shea Tierney, who's been with Brian Daboll since Buffalo. His time when Daboll was at Alabama, he was with Daboll there. Then he followed him to Buffalo. Now he worked really close with Daniel Jones this year. So those are the four guys as of now. And then as a more dark horse candidate, former Todd Bowles, Jets quarterback coach, now Eagles quarterback coach, is expected to interview for the job as well. It sounds like right now, out of the three they've already interviewed, Kubiak would perhaps be the front runner, followed by McCardell, with Jim Bob Cooter a distant third. But this Giants quarterbacks coach you're bringing in today intrigues me with Shea Tierney. But at the end of the day, I'd give the front edge to the Philadelphia coach right now. I'm about to pull up his name here in a minute, but he coached with Todd Bowles when Ryan Fitzpatrick had his best year as a pro. He had over 30 touchdowns that season, and he was the Jets quarterback coach there. So he can't interview with the Bucs right now because he's in the playoffs. Kevin Patullo it is. He's their passing game coordinator. But after this game this week, expect him to interview as well, and I think he'd be considered a long shot because he didn't interview yet. But if he does interview, Kevin Patullo would be the front runner given his familiarity.
I swear it always seems like that there's a Kubiak in the coaching mix.
And the reason I wouldn't mind him, he's only 35 years old. He was an offensive coordinator with the Vikings, and they actually scored 0.1 points per game more with him than they did this season. And his dad was a veteran head coach, so he has someone to turn to with advice. The only downfall there is this. Todd Bowles, he might want familiarity or a veteran in there. If you bring another young guy in there and he just doesn't quite get the job done and you don't like his play calling or the coaches he brought in, that could really handcuff Bowles in the long run. So something for him to think about. With McCardell and with the Eagles coach, you at least get some familiarity in the building. You get someone you could trust a little bit and rely a little more.
Well, the other thing is be careful who you hire because you might be hiring your replacement.
And that's the thing with Clint Kubiak.
He has another disappointing year. He's going to be fired, and look, if the offense looks okay, there could be your next candidate.
Especially with a Clint Kubiak who's only 35 years old. If the offense looks great, his dad used to be a head coach. Say if Bucs do get rid of Bowles, they'd be in a rebuilding year. With the up-and-coming young offensive coordinators, I think you're 100% right, McGee, and that's a great point I was going to allude to as well. I think that this next offensive coordinator, some people say it's undesirable given the Brady situation, but I look at it exactly like you do. I think it's desirable for a guy because they could go in there, get the offense going, and perhaps be the next head coach.
And I really do feel like, Tom Brady's going to go to Vegas or Miami. I feel like those are the choices. So then your quarterback situations, what, Kyle Trask or someone possibly that they bring in during free agency? There is the drafting route, but you can't figure that it's going to be a first-round pick, right?
Right, yeah, that's the thing. If we do move on, or if Brady moves on, more so, it's not really up to us because we'd welcome him back. So if Brady does move on, I'd really hope the team, and it might be a bad year, whatever. I'm willing to go through 1 year of those, but I'd really hope it's just Kyle Trask, a lower-end veteran here that we bring in, say like a Taylor Heineke type or another veteran type who we might bring in. And, you either catch lightning in a bottle with the veteran and Trask, or you have a bad season, you get a high draft pick next year, you could draft the Caleb Williams or Drake May perhaps, and then you get a new head coach. So if Brady does move on, I'd personally like the Trask and veteran route. But I wouldn't be surprised, as you alluded to, McGee. I think they could be looking at a Hendon Hooker or Stetson Bennett type if the rounds go by and their names are still available come late day 2 or early day 3.
What if it's thinking outside the bun?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's inside the bun a little bit. What if Vegas and Tampa Bay just swap quarterbacks? What if you end up with Derek Carr?
And I was talking to my friend about this the other day. He asked about that, and I go, it could be, if that is a choice that happens, I could see an outside chance of happening, because if
Do a
Brady,
lot worse.
if Brady left as exactly, A, you could do a lot worse, and B, if Brady leaves as a free agent, we owe him $35 million in dead cap. I do think he liked the Bucks enough where they could work out a sign and trade where they lower that number perhaps, and they get another quarterback in the process. So I think that's absolutely ideal for the Bucks given the dead cap space, and I think a sign and trade's possible. Derek Carr is really realistic.
Well, Tom Brady's a unrestricted free agent.
That's what I'm saying. That's why if he signs somewhere else outright, the Bucks lose $35 million in dead cap. If he retires, it's only $10 million. If he returns, obviously that's something not to care about. So
even though he's an unrestricted free agent,
because the Bucks did all that kicking the can down the line, and that's how they were able to bring the boys back the last 2 years. And they, like, Brady only made, not only, it sounds ridiculous, but Brady got paid 11 or 12 million last year at the front end of the year, and then he's owed all that money down the line. So they've been kicking a lot of his contract.
He did the same thing in New England too. So yeah.
Yep. And now, it comes to the point where once Brady does leave, all the fun's over with all that dead cap money, because you're going to have more mass exits, and you're going to have to pay more guys a lot more money as well.
Carr, by the way, is owed only 32 this coming year, but 24-25 he's 41-9 and 41-2. So for some reason I thought he only had 1 or 2 years left. He actually has 3 left.
I think they just extended him last offseason, believe it or not.
I will say this. He's got pretty low dead cap.
Mm-hmm.
If they decide to just release him, his dead cap's 5.6 this year, 3.7 next year, and 1.8 in 2025.
So he's a very favorable.
If you take him on and it didn't work out, it's really not going to cripple you in 24 and 25.
That sounds beautiful. I don't mind that option, knowing that at all.
The other option obviously would be, well, I saw one really goofy rumor, but it just doesn't make sense. Would be Lamar Jackson going down to Tampa. But you'd have to change your entire offensive philosophy.
And not
it means you have to trade everybody. There is no way Chris Godwin and Mike Evans want to be run blocking for Lamar Jackson and getting 40 catches a year.
And the thing with that is, if that means Brady's gone, then so that's $35 million in dead cap. You'd have to pay Lamar Jackson at least $40-50 million a year. So for 1 or 2 years, you'd be paying $80-85 million to the quarterback position on top of giving up more draft capital. And the Bucks have just announced as well that they've just conducted a virtual interview with Bengals quarterback coach Dan Pitcher for the offensive coordinator position. So throw another name into the hat.
They're just throwing everything up against the wall and see what'll stick.
Geez, Todd Bowles is. I like the guy as a person, but hopefully he can make a couple better coaching decisions.
Anyways, we'll move on from that. Frank Reich coming to the NFC South. I think that's. Oh, by the way, Miami. I forgot to mention this. Miami fired their offensive coordinator, Josh Gaddis, today. The reason why that's important is that he has linked to one of the bigger prospects that is supposed to be coming to Miami. He's a 5-star receiver, but he was specifically coming there for Gaddis, so it sounds like that he's going to be back up in the hunt.
That's something to keep an eye on.
It is. I don't know I didn't do enough digging because I read it right before I came on air, but I don't know who his other choices are. But regardless, there's usually only about 32 5-star players out there every year, and one of them sounds like that he's going to reopen the recruiting process.
Man, that's so interesting nowadays. I feel like it happens way more now than it ever did before. It's like you must feel like crap if you get a 5-star recruit, they decommit, and then they go somewhere else. It makes you feel like you did something wrong, I think.
Not nowadays. I don't think so, because to be honest with you, I believe that everybody's soul is for sale out there in the NIL deals, and they're just taking money wherever they can.
That's fair.
I just, it was crippling 20 years ago when you would see, man, what happened? Why in the world did they leave? And there would always be that wink, wink, look off to the side, ha ha, he he. We all know what really happened. A suitcase showed up on their lawn. Well, now it's all above the board.
True.
Well, most of it. I will say that I still believe that there's still payments that aren't being recorded, and that's going to be a problem down the line for somebody.
Definitely. It definitely is. I remember Julio Jones showing up back in the day to Alabama, and he had a brand new car all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, where'd that come from?
Reggie Bush had a brand new house. How did you explain that one at all?
Oh, man. Geez.
I mean, seriously, a house.
Make it a little more obvious.
If I was in that situation, someone gave me bukus of money like that, man, they would be on so many offshore accounts. I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
20,000 on the Giants tonight, please.
Well, I don't think I'd be doing that. That's how you lose your money. They, looking at the NFC Championship line, it's still sitting there at 2.5. Everybody is on the Philadelphia Eagle wave. And I'm not seeing many people even giving San Francisco a chance. I still think that's a mistake. I think it's going to be a really close game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel much better with the teaser, to be honest. I don't know if I'll take San Fran just the plus 2.5, but I've already grabbed them on a teaser.
What was your teaser?
At the time it was 2.5, so 8.5.
And with the other game, did you pair it with, or did you just?
Yeah, at the time it was 2.5 and it was 1.5, so I'm getting 7.5.
Oh yeah. I think we talked about this Monday.
Yeah. So, you can go higher, but then your profit margin isn't as strong, and when you do that, all the sharps will tell you that you're basically building yourself a hole.
Mm-hmm.
If you go out there and you try to, because I can just clear this. Problem is you get in that habit, and when you normally would have bet 20, but today you're betting 35 to win 20 because you're getting less odds. Eventually, that's going to catch up with you.
Right.
Anytime I do a teaser, anytime I talk about a teaser on the show and give it as one of my picks, like today, my lock, I don't think I gave it yet. My lock today is IPFW in Manhattan, IPFW, with basketball, it's typically a 4-point teaser. So IPFW, it's taking it up to 8.5, and Manhattan, now getting 10. And I did a lot of research on these games today, and I feel like both those games are going to be a lot closer than that line. But I liked having the extra buckets in my pocket because basketball can change on a dime like that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
But in one of the games, without getting too far into the weeds with it, one of the games, it's two of the lowest scoring schools in the nation are squaring off. If I can get 12 points in my pocket between two schlubs that are probably going to play a game in the low 50s, I'll take that all day long.
Absolutely.
And then the other one, they had just played a few weeks ago. There are no injuries, and the point margin was 5 points, and they just played each other. It's really hard to beat a team twice, and it's very hard to beat a team twice when you just barely beat them the first time.
Correct.
So that's where that's coming from. Just a little insight.
How about the chat in our YouTube chat? Someone coming at Bobby's hat. Take that Manchester City cap off. I didn't even realize Bobby was wearing one.
Was he?
I don't know. I forget. Was he? Now that I think about it, but none of us are wearing a Manchester.
I've never even known him to. I have no idea. I have never known him to to even talk about soccer. So I'll have to go back and look and see if that's what he was actually wearing.
Yeah, because neither of us are wearing one.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming. Was he wearing it? Let me look. Well, I'm looking at it. It's some kind of ball cap.
Yeah, it looks like it might be. I can't really tell from here.
I can't tell what it is. The logo that far away, I have no idea.
Maybe he's a big soccer guy.
He's never spoken of it in 2 years, so I don't think he's that big of a soccer guy.
Fair.
He drove on and on his walk-offs about UFC, so I feel like the door would be open for soccer.
Maybe someone got it for him as a gift or souvenir or whatnot.
Maybe he doesn't even know what it is. I've been there.
Oh man, that's good.
I've complimented people before on a Braves hat, and they take it off because, oh man, I thought this was a Bama hat.
Isn't that the best? I was in Disney once, like when I was a kid, and some kid was wearing a Cubs shirt, and I'm like, "Nice shirt, dude." And he looked at his shirt, and he's like, "Oh, thanks." I was like, "What?"
I am rocking Austin Riley jersey today. I just realized that I sit so close up to the camera that you can't really see what I'm wearing, but Austin Riley, and do you know the hat that I have on?
Denver Broncos.
No, sir.
Really? I can't really. It looks like an old D.
Bull Durham.
Wow, Bull Durham. There you go.
Bulls.
I like that even more.
Their logos look similar because Denver kind of copycatted theirs, but yeah, this is the Bull Durham.
That's even cooler.
And if you haven't watched that movie in a while, it's a good time to watch it.
Yeah.
Let's take our last break. When we come back, we're gonna hit some of the overs and unders and tell you. And I'll tell you what, I feel very strong about both the over unders this weekend. We'll be back in a flash.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
It's time to live, laugh, and create memories again with MSC Cruises. Join us on some of the world's most modern and innovative ships. Discover again at our new private island, Ocean Key MSC Marine Reserve, named Best New Cruise Destination. Cruise the Caribbean and Bahamas from Miami or Port Canaveral. Book now with free balcony upgrades and flexible booking changes. Call your travel advisor or visit msccruises.com. Restrictions apply. MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins...
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites!
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites!
Here you go.
Yes!
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show daily.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Don't you understand? This pool is our bootstraps, and it's lifting us up into the middle class, dude.
Well, just accept the fact that you're white trash, all right? Take a look at yourself. You can't do backflips. You don't know karate. You're white trash.
Well, if you stand and block the screen, you may just lose your life. And that goes for all 30 friends and 30 friends' wives. Because he's the armchair.
Welcome back. Friends, you've been checking out any of the Australian Open as the Joker's heading to the finals?
I've been keeping up with it on radio, sports talk, and whatnot. I actually haven't watched much myself, but I've been keeping up with it.
So tonight, what do we have here? I have to move. It's really hard to keep up with because it comes on in the middle of the night.
Correct.
So I like how you answer people like they're in the middle of of taking a quiz. Correct. I noticed something. I didn't notice till the other day. Your brother has that same faux pas. Y'all both answer questions like correct. It's not really answering, it's commenting. It just cracks me up. But anyways, Ria Bakina, if that's how you pronounce her name, she is going head to head with Sabalenka tonight, 3:30 in the morning. Now there was a time and a place where I used to stay up till 3:30 in the morning. I was still up, and I recall watching the Australian Open with friends. That's not happening. Now, I do think it all comes full circle. I think in about 10 or 15 years to you. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know till a little while ago that the Joker had won. I've been watching it during the entire show today.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy the majors, but I'm not getting up at 3:30 in the morning.
Nope. I remember that felt like KBO, Korean baseball, when the pandemic was going on, if you wanted to watch any sort of baseball. And hey, I woke up that early a couple times. I'm not afraid to admit it. Not a good thing, but you know.
Well, funny story, when that was going on, we were doing a show out of St. Augustine, Florida. And the short of it is Korean Baseball League, the KBO, their games were starting at 5:30, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's either 5 or 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
Our show started shortly after that. This is back when we were doing, at one point we were doing a 3-hour, and then it went to 4. So I don't remember the exact time. But anyways, 7 a.m. And then we eventually caught on to we were 6 a.m. So 6 to 10 a.m. So I was watching a lot of KBO. And man, you want to talk about the most difficult thing you will ever do is a friend of mine actually mentioned this to me in a text one day. I'll never forget it. Because they were talking about the first responders and, obviously, for very good reason. And also talking about everybody that was working in the medical field. And, at the time they were getting a lot of commercials that we're basically saying thank everybody in the medical profession, and then of course anyone in law enforcement, for very good reason. But he sent me a joke one day, and don't get it twisted, it was a joke, but he just said, nobody's talking about the real heroes, you guys who are talking sports for 4 hours a day, and there's no sports to talk about. And the stuff we would have to come up with to talk on the God, I know it only lasts about 8 or 10 weeks. It felt like
it was
like years.
It was the longest 2-month period of all time. I mean, you're literally sitting there. It's like, do I turn on a replay of an old game? Do I turn on radio to hear about food and it's sports radio? It's like, what the heck is there to do? Talk about it. It was crazy.
So I was having to get really creative. I was doing a 4-hour show, and sometimes it was by myself, and we were going down memory lane. And so I was getting all these clips from previous like great games, and that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
It was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal. When they finally came back with, I remember it was like backyard tennis was being televised live. They were telling you it was professional, but my word, I mean, it was in someone's backyard. You ain't gotta lie to me. That, and there was different versions of racing that was coming on. I've never been so happy to cover that kind of stuff in my life.
Yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
we got ourselves a ball game today.
We got some Australian bowling going on.
Hey, anything. I remember doing an entire show about the stupid horse thing that ESPN put on. Do you remember that? The horse?
Yep, I do remember
We
that.
did an entire show the day after talking about it, mainly because it was awful. But I remember about a week later, someone goes to call in to talk about it. I'm not doing another show on them playing horse. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
No, because I want to say they played on like a Wednesday and they played again on a Sunday. Someone called like that following Monday and said, wanted to talk about it. I said, I didn't watch it. You didn't watch it? I was like, I couldn't do it, man. Watching people play horse.
Nope. And that's
This is literally what we mean by you play this, you don't watch this.
they also had like NBA guys playing each other in video games during that time too. It's like, geez.
Oh, it's brutal. We were televising our own video games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you were. I think you. I think you and Joey came around just after all that.
I was a little bit during the pandemic for a couple weeks during the week. I remember I think Monday mornings for a little bit because I worked from home at that point in time. But then I went away for a little bit and I came back about a half year later. But my first brief stint on the Armchair Quarterbacks was Monday mornings during the pandemic.
Okay. Was it when the sports was first coming back, or was it afterwards?
It was when it was a little. It was like the fall. So you guys were doing that in like the spring and summer.
At least you didn't have to. I mean, literally. I mean, it's in the Constitution. That was cruel and unusual punishment. I'm telling you, man. I was sitting going, jeez. Just I was ready to lick doorknobs just to give myself a chance of catching COVID. So I had an opportunity not to do the show.
I could see you falling asleep, nodding at the wheel, and people, come on, wake up.
We covered the KBO because when it came back, I was like, dude, we got something to actually talk about. Don't know who we're talking about. But every once in a while, you would see a player that you recognize from the major leagues pop up. Oh, we go on, but we had these long. I still have the clips in my in my sound box
Mm-hmm.
that I come across from time to time. I go, man, I did a lot of this. I mean, there's at least 100 clips where you would hear the vault open, the vault close, and in between that would be a clip, and it would be, first it started off with all the great games, and then because it dragged on so long, I started finding obscure games that I felt like people would be entertained about hearing about that they had no idea.
Yeah, I remember. You're right though on some MLB guys being over there because I remember Cubs pitcher now Adrian Sampson was definitely one of those cats that were over there.
I was dusting on DVDs that people had given to me over the years, and I remember there was a DVD that I went through, and it was old World Series games, right?
Yep.
Shaky camera, the whole 9 yards, blurry. I watched every single one of those. Because I with the show, you couldn't leave the house, right? You're on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it was, but I really didn't want to watch. I was fiending for anything sports related. And if I didn't know the outcome, I would watch it.
That's what we would try and do. We'd even toss some money on it sometimes. We had to put a little faith in each other that we actually didn't know. But we'd Google like basketball full game 1992 and throw out a random one.
You know that there's still on these sites that we give you the free the sign up bonus and everything. That, by the way, is in the chat if you want to take advantage of the sign up bonus. I'll put it on the screen here. Did you know that they still take bets on random I call them esports, but basically video games that are being simulated?
That's crazy.
And I don't even know how they're watching it. I guess there's an outlet to watch it, maybe on YouTube or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are really going to bet on, oh my word. And then one night I caught myself after a couple of pops, I was like, looking, I was like, all right, that's it, man. Like, just walk away. Because I was seriously thinking about just throwing like $2 on it or something and see if I could find the YouTube channel. I was like, walk away, man. Walk away. This is a terrible idea. Do not. No, this is literally the PSA moment, right?
Wake up in the morning. I lost on esports.
Did you bet your mortgage on Madden 97?
Honey, we got to move.
What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off for the day is don't gamble on esports. But no, for real, enjoy these championship games. They're two doozies. You might, I mean, I know every year we say they're awesome games, but this time you really got four solid teams. Appreciate greatness, Burrow or Mahomes, or the defenses. You got Hurts on the other side, a guy like Brock Purdy. Enjoy it. And one last little wrestling note, wouldn't be a wrestling Royal Rumble Saturday if I didn't mention it for you folks. Royal Rumble this Saturday, so enjoy if you're a wrestling fan.
Where's that at?
That is in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, I believe.
San Antonio. All right. My walk-off for the day is we'll be back Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. right here on Braves Country, and we're going to be doing the kickoff show. Make sure you tune in and have a great weekend. It's Friday. Go enjoy yourself. Just don't do it too much, and please act responsibly. We'll see you Sunday for come on. It's probably the best football day of the year. Great job, Tones, and that is correct.
Correct.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special including.
The NFL playoffs are back, and that means the Armchair Quarterbacks kickoff show is back. Join Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks Conference Championship Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern, to get you ready for the biggest games of the year. The Armchair Quarterbacks will be talking the spreads, prop bets, over-unders, stupid underdogs, and the locks. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks kickoff show, streaming right here on Braves Country HD and our radio affiliates.